This is an age of disruption, of profound revolutionary change.
What we're really asking ministers is to empower the ambassadors.
The only thing that you really push forth is the truth.
You don't see many women represented when it comes to the decisions as to how to handle the pandemic.
Good morning and welcome back to Politico Sustainable Future Week. My name is Jan Chansky and I'm your MC this morning, and I'm also the Senior Policy Editor at Politico. Before the panel discussion on the Net Zero Industry Act, which will be moderated by my colleague Federica De Serio, we'll hear a few opening remarks from our partner McDonald's and Remy Roca, the Senior Director Impact. Remy, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, could you hear me well? Yeah, good to be here today. So, as many of you already know, because of our growing population on the planet, we will need to produce more food in the next 40 years than in the past 8,000 years. That's going to be a serious challenge. And at McDonald's, we are dedicated to source this food in a sustainable way, which means that we are planning to minimize our negative impact and maximize our positive impact on the ecosystem. And that's key for us, not only to play our role in the fight against climate change, but because developing sustainable agriculture is key to develop resilient ecosystem and a resilient supply chain for us. So we are on this journey for decades now with our suppliers, and we are using our scale to have a positive impact. In 2021, we decided to make a commitment and to reach net zero by 2050. And we are now making progress toward our 2030 interim targets. So McDonald's, we are one of the world's largest restaurant chains. We are serving 65 million consumers and clients a day in more than 40,000 restaurants. In Europe, we have 6,500 restaurants in more than 3,000 cities. But McDonald's, we do not own farms. We do not own plants or any supply chain level. But we have developed a very unique and long-term partnerships which allow us to have a positive impact. And regarding climate, especially on that, we have recently set some very clear expectations to our 100 top suppliers, which represent 80% of our food supply. Two main expectations. The first one, all our suppliers, they are required to have science-based climate targets. The second one is they are required to develop a clear reduction plan that we are planning to monitor. And in this context, regenerative agriculture will play a key role. Because with a double positive outcomes and thanks to a positive circle, it will have a positive impact. First, regenerative agriculture will help us to reduce climate change, thanks to increased carbon sequestration. But also developing a type of agriculture which is resilient to the consequences of climate change, like the severe drought or extreme temperature that we are facing around the world. And so our role at McDonald's is not to define what is regenerative agriculture, what is not. We are not here to create a new certification or a new claim. In fact, there are some commonly agreed agricultural practices which do exist, like cover crops or grazing techniques or agroforestry. And those practices and others increase organic matter in the soil, which allows more carbon sequestration, but also allow better water absorption, increased biodiversity, and reduced needs for inputs. So those practices, those agricultural practices do exist then, but they are not implemented at scale for now. And that's where we have a role to play as McDonald's, is using our scale to drive progress. And we also would like to use technologies like satellite mapping and AI to ease and accelerate the monitoring and therefore the scaling of those practices. We are, for example, partnering with an ag tech company which can check the implementation of those practices, like cover crops, for example, for hundreds of farmers in the same time, using remote sensing, thanks to satellite mapping and AI. So to accelerate this scaling, we have developed a RegenAg, a regenerative agriculture framework, that we have shared with our top suppliers around the world and request them to use and scale. And thanks to that, we are now developing dozens of initiatives on RegenAg, regenerative agriculture, either at pilot stage or at large scale in Europe and around the world. So to conclude, scaling regenerative agriculture at global scale and tackling climate change at the farm level, they are definitely huge and complex challenges. And none of us can do it on its own. None of us can tackling it on its own in an isolated way. And that's why we are definitely excited to partners with suppliers, with farmers, but also with governments and NGOs to enabling a large-scale change. So definitely looking forward to the work ahead, and thank you so much for your time today.